We do keep it as an archive. We don't, at the moment, we're not sharing anything. We're just archiving it. I realized I forgot to record on hills. That was terrific. Except for, I did finally figure out how to make the sound work. Um, there, you actually have to make the sound work when you're sharing a video. So, Becky, you're starting a new job, right? Is that right?
Probably not anytime soon.
Oh, not anytime soon. Oh,
Maybe this year.
because the Pentagon came to my door and they brought a Humvee and they had helicopters flying overhead.
That probably wasn't for me.
Oh, it was for somebody else. So anyway, Ruth, are you working here in town somewhere?
I work out, well, everybody's remote right now still, right? But
Right.
I typically was supposed to go into Washington, DC, work for a little company called Facebook.
Facebook?
hmm
You know, I don't think
I'm,
anyone here knows anything about that, but
I'm IT support, so that's,
oh, cool. Wow. Well, we'll all be your best friend from now on. You realize that you you can create your own network. Let me just put something in the chat here. There is a website for this series. I don't really advertise it because I'm more focused on just our little gatherings. So we have Sunny Sumter up. Is she next? In a couple weeks, and then Miho Hazama, who is she won the big Charlie Parker Award as a jazz orchestra arranger and composer, and she got this major position as the director of the Denmark Radio Orchestra, one of the top two jazz orchestras in Europe. And Miho also has a career in Japan, commercial career. So she'll be joining us, I think from New York, I presume. I'm not even sure, because they're already rehearsing and doing some kind of performances in Copenhagen. By the way, Jack, we have a guy named Bruce Grimo, who's been living in Beijing for about 20 years. An astonishing musician, composer, and invents instruments and so forth. Plays a big role in the Beijing scene and also in the New York scene. He commutes back and forth. Jeez. So he'll be with us. We're going to do that at 9 o'clock at night. He said he refused to do 7 a.m. from Beijing, so we were testing his commitment there. Let's see, and we have Peter Frisch next time. He was a producer and director for The Young and the Restless, and before that was I met him when we were doing stuff in Boston a million years ago, and you can read his bio. He's an incredible guy. Runs an acting studio out in LA now, but he was at Carnegie Mellon for many years. He ran that program. So anyway, have a look at that website. And Ruth, if you don't mind, send me your email and I'll put you on the list, so that you get these announcements.
Sure.
Let's see, give a chance for a couple more people to check in. Then Majeedah, I'm going to turn it over to you. I think. Majeedah, by the way, as I was getting things set up, there were all these little glitches going on. First of all, I did figure out how to do the sound, and then all of a sudden my screen went blank. So, on and on. We have Dubem visiting from New York still, or Bethesda. Where are you, Dubem?
I'm in New York still.
Oh, you are. Congratulations.
Hi, Dubem.
Still
I
here.
miss you.
Hi, Majeedah. I miss you too.
Well, I'm fully vaxxed. I know. I think Roshna is. I don't know if she's on. here. Jack, how are you doing out there with the vax?
Yeah, we're fully vaccinated, have been for over a month.
Yep, yep. I noticed you have like a plant. It looks like a plant growing out of the side of your head. Is that from the vaccination?
Well, that started right after the second dose. I
Oh
don't know.
yeah, yeah. The second dose is a killer. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I started speaking Korean suddenly, which
Oh.
didn't make any sense.
Strange things happen.
Yeah, Christina, are you fully vaxxed?
Yes.
Oh, good. Anyone else? Majeedah, you having any luck with that?
I am thinking about when it's going to be convenient for me to get it. In my full-time job, I work 9 to 10 hours a day. So, I still have to figure out. And also I live on a farm. So
Right.
I don't have any neighbors, and I seldom leave the house. I maybe leave the house maybe once a month, twice a month or so.
No, I get it. Just keep in mind that in China they got rid of the virus just by behavior, long
Yeah.
before the vax, and their vax isn't any good.
Right.
But,
I anticipate I'll get it soon. It's a lot to think about.
right. All right. Majeedah, I'm handing it over to you, and I have your videos queued up, so maybe they'll work.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for your time and attention for coming. My name is Majeedah Johnson, and I've been in the DC metro area for almost 20 years. My background includes I went to school for biological sciences in New Orleans and Louisiana, and other parts of my background include my love of my passion for science. Um, Ever since when I was growing up, I very much have enjoyed a number of ways of storytelling. That includes doing music, jazz, writing. And so essentially, there are moments where I was working to figure out what all does make sense about what I do. And then I realized that I am passionate about storytelling in a number of different ways. And so that storytelling includes sometimes I do collages, other times I'm writing stories. Something I will also share is I did complete my first novel, Jump the River. Yeah, gosh, this was I think it was 2014 when this came out, and I started an indie publishing company. And so I would say that as much as I adore science, my main focus is to help people to become happy, to overcome obstacles, and have a good time with my content. So that includes some puppets. I might introduce you to a puppet or two. And it's continued to expand. So I think that's pretty much the gist. Oh, and professionally, in my full-time job, I manage a science writing team. So I spend a lot of time immersed in science-related stuff, policy. But outside of work is where I really enjoy to continue to express myself, and that's writing, songwriting, music, playing instruments, and lately it's been more about puppets and also children's workshops.
Majeedah, I wish you'd spend more time on the puppets. I've told you that over and over again.
You know, I speaking of puppets, I might as well go ahead and introduce you all. So so this is oh yeah, okay, so this is my I've built maybe 7 or 8 of these. This is my puppet Vincent, and I'll just tell you a little bit about my puppet making. A couple years ago, one of the positions I held was a clinical operations manager, and it was great. It was grueling work. It was wonderful, but I started thinking about where is my joy? And I realized that I needed to create in more intentional spaces of joy creation. And a couple friends introduced me or were talking about puppets. And then one day I just decided that I was going to commit myself to becoming a puppet maker. And I would spend hours before and after work, and I turned my living room into a little puppet factory, and I got to work. So this is my first one. This is Vincent. I call him my puppet son. His shirt also has his little initials on it too. I do a lot of like finding their clothes and stuff, but I use these to when I do kids workshops to teach kids about bullying, overcoming obstacles, discipline, um, and really to pursue their life's passion. So I love this work. Um, and yeah, I would say lately the pursuing the puppetry has been a joy. And then I've also been getting into prosthetics and add-ons and so character building and stuff. So, and I can talk a little bit more too about a new character that I'm working on that is doing pretty well on Instagram. So
Well, Majeedah came in and worked before the pandemic. I had a monthly group class from all my students. And not everybody knows that I start kids at age 5, age 6. So I have a pretty robust studio of kids and their parents. Everybody has to be involved, age 5 to 12. And I had, in addition to the older people, but I had Majeedah come in, and she put on quite a show. I have to say, I should just have you come in every month with those guys. They really loved it.
it's
And
fun.
also Majeedah plays saxophone. That's the other thing.
Yeah. And I actually just started during quarantine. I started guitar lessons, and my instructor is a clarinetist jazz musician in New Orleans. So we Zoom on Saturdays, and then he gives me my homework assignment. So it's been pretty cool. I've wanted to do guitar or learn guitar for a while, and then I was just like, what other time but now to set that intention, because I'm already writing songs and things, so it's fun to start meeting myself in a new plane creatively.
Right. Well, Majeedah, as you know, I always ask these questions
Yeah.
to get things started. I like to know, what's really next, what you're really pursuing that requires focus and hard work, and probably half of your income and all these things that we experience.
Yeah, so creatively, I would say this is the first time that during this sheltering in place that I have made a dedication to not just have my art to be adjacent. For a long time, it was like, oh, working this job, doing these projects, but I've been very deeply intentional about being more mindful about my ideas. So I've been building more puppets. And one idea came to me, like honestly, at 2 o'clock in the morning. A lot of my ideas just wake me up, and I write a lot of them down. And the idea was um, a Klingon who does reality shows. And so I started I started doing the research, and I taught myself and I learned how to do like the add-on makeups, the prosthetics and things. And so after 3 hours or so of makeup, I did this Klingon character, and then I did this scenario where she's just talking about that she's going to be on reality shows. And so the bigger thing is what's interesting. So I posted it, and one of my followers shared it to a young woman in the business, Amanda Seals, and she shared it and hosted it. And then in a couple weeks, it went to 16,000 views. So what was beautiful about this is that a lot of people were sharing like that this was funny, they had a good time. And I thought it was going to be a one-off, but now I'm actually working on an Instagram series that features this character, Jaleesa. And part of it explores um, extraterrestrials and how other people view how much we consume social media. And it'll explore certain trends in a comedic way. There'll be songs, there'll be dancing. It's I've been filming some pretty interesting stuff. So that's part of it. And then I'm also working on a show about a puppet in the workplace who experiences discrimination. And I've recorded the theme song for it. I've done some storyboarding. And so essentially it's right now, mostly I'm focusing on completing projects. I think essentially giving yourself the gift of completion and focusing on not a space of non-judgment really can be transformational. And in that process, in tapping into and being aligned with that mission, you can help people feel great about themselves. You can connect to people. And I think that's especially what a lot of people, what we need right now is further connection. And what better way than to do it through expression, through artistic expression.
Sure. And tell me how, now for the hard part, how do you distribute your work?
Oh, do you mean my my time management, or like how do I put my work out?
How do you get it out there, right? That's the big issue we all have.
Great question. So I've I first have understood and acknowledged that I don't have all of the answers. My latest mantra is I desire to know what I don't know, and I learned to be more quiet. Um, I've started to look at people and individuals who are doing it, who are where I'd like to be. But also, I make sure that I'm listening to the messages that are around me. That morning that I decided to post this for this Klingon video, I was kind of filled with a bit of doubt, and I wasn't sure. It was just like really weird, you know. It was like no one was doing this idea, and I just had an idea about it, and I went ahead and put it out there, and then it just did the job. And so my desire, my goal honestly has been for my works to live and walk into places and be in places that I've never been before, and to formulate a plan, um have an ability to measure those metrics, but also begin to start seeking out professionals that know that part. Like I'm probably going to consult with a marketing expert, someone who can look at my long-term, short-term goals, so that I don't get so caught up and bogged down into making actions that don't move me forward. I can let someone else do that. But another part of that too is I do have the benefit of having a full-time job where I can allocate and self-fund projects, and I also have an LLC. So part of it is setting a plan, but being flexible enough to adjust when you need, and revisiting goals. So for now,
Well,
I'm putting,
I'm going to interrupt you just for a
yeah,
sec. I can tell you from my experience and many others
yeah,
that there are a lot of people you can pay a lot of money to for distribution and marketing that don't really do anything. They make money,
right,
and not
right,
for you, and that's always a big issue.
yeah.
Certainly in the music world.
Right. Well,
Um,
you have very solid points. What I've decided for this for this show, this Klingon show, especially with the limited time I have to invest or to put toward my art with a full work schedule, is this little show is only going to live on Instagram. I could put it in all other places, but if one video that I recorded for like, I think it's maybe 3 minutes, if one video got 16,000 views on Instagram and then 1,000 views on Facebook, I think what I'm going to do is just keep it there and continue to build that platform and see where it goes. And I'm also starting to take more advantage of different professionals who provide free information. And part of it too is intuition and really being mindful about what it is that I desire to do with this work, getting into different markets. I may start looking into grants, looking into international markets as well, doing deep dives about that. So it will be to search and expand a team because I do a lot of stuff myself. But it will be certainly a mindful pursuit, of being able to see someone's portfolio, and seeing what their clients are doing, and also getting testimonials. So it will be, something that's pretty intentional. I I can't hear you.
can we go to the tape now? Maybe
Oh yes, yes.
show one of these videos.
Okay, yes. So also in quarantine, having that I work a lot of hours, I realized I wanted to keep creating, but my bandwidth was kind of diminished at the end of the day. So I started curating. I taught myself how to curate these microfilms, and overall the theme is about the investments and the labor and the contributions that people of color, especially Black people, have made across the world. And so it's a series of images and music that I also produced and put together. I assembled the samples, put them together to tell a story. So the first video is 2 minutes, and then I challenged myself to start getting the impressions down to about 1 minute. So you'll see the first expression right now.
We have, stand by just one sec. I have the awakening and I have the realignment and I have a third one. Which one would you like to hear first?
The one that's purple, it's like a lavender and it's circling and spinning.
The one that's purple.
It says, I can go to it myself. Yeah, that's the purple one's the first one.
Okay, I have 46 and this will just take a second. It's 46 and 61 and 07. Okay.
The first one is 2 minutes.
Okay, I have a green one, I have a yellow one, and I have a purple one.
Yes.
All right. Okay, here we go. Let's see how this works. It's always an adventure. Did that work out okay, Majeedah?
Yes, it did.
Okay, everybody heard it and everything.
Interesting.
Thank you.
Good, that's a miracle. Oh, it's running again for us here.
Okay.
Hang on a sec, let me, all right, go ahead, Majeedah.
Yeah, so it was interesting. When I was putting those together, I was essentially just watching different movies and making notes. I'm often taking notes on something. And I usually, with the process, I usually start out with some kind of idea or concept that I would like to convey. And I start listening to different samples of music and I start piecing them together and trying to tell a story in through music listening, and then I look at different images and try to capture and make notes about if those images can either help to convey the message or a feeling or emotion. So it's, in a way, it's storytelling in a different plane. Even, and I find it in a way similar to writing novels and short stories. It's just thinking about what you would like to convey and then getting out of the way of the message and moving that forward. Same thing with puppets as well. Just even though I'm working the puppet, I try to, you know, get out of the way, I guess.
Tell me, I'll move to my next question before you go on to your next video. And that is, I'm most intrigued by, with artists and musicians and so forth, by what is actually not working as they look to the future, what they've been trying to do, sometimes over years, and not exactly accomplishing. I don't know if you would care to comment on that.
You
don't
know,
have to.
I've been thinking about that for a few days. And one thing that my mother actually taught both myself and my sister, one of the mantras was, everything is working in my favor. And I strongly believe in forming a relationship with the universe and being very intentional about um, my efforts. And I work to show up. Lately, I've been especially working to show up more often and more regularly to my work. Um, I'm also learning to not judge my ideas and just write them down. I also have an audio recorder that sometimes I may step away from a meeting and sing a song into, because there's times in the morning where I can come up with 4 or 5 different hooks to different songs. And if I, as soon as I'm singing them, if I'm not writing them down or recording them, I forget them almost as soon. So I think what I'm working to enhance is to even be further humbled and listening to my ideas. For a long time, I was intimidated by my idea, that I would get this idea and like Google it and see if somebody else did it. But now it's the interpretation is that was a gift provided to me, and it is my duty to figure out how to help that to come into fruition. So I would say mainly it's me getting out of my own way and trusting the process. Because I mean, even so the most absurd idea that I had, especially spending 3 hours in makeup, was something that close to 17,000 people ended up watching either the first time or again and sharing. So I would say continuing to get out of my own way.
Trying to get out of your own way. That's interesting. Shall we go on to another? Actually, does anyone have any questions or thoughts, responses to the video that Majeedah just presented, or anything else? We haven't really heard from anybody yet.
Just a thought. Oh, I really loved it, and I love the narrative that you're telling through the video, and the symbols and the all the imagery, and even mixed with the music. And just a random thought, the music kind of sounded like tools tinkering. So it was kind of cool seeing people working and typing and, you know, working with, I don't know, some sort of engineering tools, but it was like tinkering.
Yeah.
So that was all like part of the narrative. So I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I ask how many hours you spend on that?
You know, a lot. Also, I'm a tinkerer, a perfectionist, that I will listen to the song itself on stereo for, you know, even though that song, I think it was like up to 2 minutes, hours. And then for the video itself, that it's usually a lot of time of me watching different videos and then taking notes on how I feel about certain places. It's making a list even down to the second, and then even like my notation of where I need to come back to and think about where a certain video ebbs and flows. Um, and thinking about it. And then also there's even different manipulations of the images themselves. Like, does it need to be slowed down? Does it slow down? Does it actually hit this? Is it percussive enough? Does the light hit the certain way? And things like nuances. So sometimes 1 2-minute video or 1 minute video could take me 2 to 3 weeks or more. But usually with my works, that's one thing, be it cooking, preparing. I'm very passionate about presentation, whether it be collaging, novel writing, storytelling. I embrace that process. For example, I mean, my puppets take me up to 40 hours about to make each puppet, and I've maybe 6 or 7 of them. So, and I'm still often building other stuff. So yeah, it takes a lot of intentional hours, and sometimes even afterward I'm a bit tired, but I'm also fixated with making sure that polish is there, because I'm self-taught. So I'm not going to school for it. So that's also another pressure that I put on myself to make sure like this would be professional and
Right.
reach people. Yeah.
Well, Dubem, if we can just move off track just a bit. Dubem, you do all these geometric designs, which I have no idea where you're headed with these things. Can you enlighten me and maybe everybody else? And you post them, so I always know it's you. And yeah, can you tell me what's going on there?
Yeah, sure. So with my work, it's also a way of communicating, a way of telling a story without words. I like to use symbolism and imagery, and geometry, because I feel like it's something that it's a language that exists within every human being, within our DNA. We are able to look at lines, circles, and the different arrangements of them and be able to understand a meaning from them, even though sometimes the meaning is not something you are able to express with words. It's an innate feeling. And so growing up, and I still struggle with words sometimes, like when it comes to expressing how I feel. So I draw it, and I went to architecture school, so that's why I'm into drafting now. So I kind of draft out these geometric shapes and patterns as a narrative of symbolizing either an idea or a feeling, or just like opening up a conversation.
I'm
There,
gonna look.
I
I'm
love
gonna
your
go
work.
back on your
Oh,
Instagram.
thank you.
Look at it more closely. Majeedah, let's move on to the next video. What would you like next?
Yes, so the next one, I believe it's yellow. It's the yellow one.
Yes, it is.
Great. Okay, so this next one. So after I got the first microfilm or curated film out of the way, I was like, okay, I did this in 2 minutes. I wonder if I can render an experience or an emotional response from audience members in 59 seconds. And I was watching a lot of blues, listening to a lot of blues, and so I just kind of went with that. So I was just and then there were some samples that I discovered that I was just fixated with, and I wanted to build around those, but still build with intention, but also getting out of the way of the story. So there you go.
Sure. Are you seeing the video now? Are you seeing it?
Yes.
All right, here we go.
I understand perfectly. I understand perfectly.
I want to watch that one again. Can we do that?
Yes.
Let's watch it again.
I understand perfectly. I understand perfectly. I understand perfectly.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone have any deep thoughts?
That was mesmerizing.
Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely.
Thank you. Yeah, it was.
Yep. Wait a sec.
Oh,
Hang-
that's part one. Yeah, that's one.
Sorry about
It's okay. My babies.
that.
Yeah, that one was fun. Yeah, I enjoyed working on that one.
When did you do that one?
Uh, that was all these months run together. So I think it was warm outside. No, I'd have to check the date that I posted it. I think it was that one December? I can't remember. I work on so many projects. I have to just look at the last date, like the date I posted, and I can remember. Yeah, but yeah, that one was awesome. And then I found myself coming up with different rules or ways of approach. But then I wanted to make sure that I wasn't boxing myself in. I'm also a martial artist. I've been training in Aikido for over a decade, maybe 13 years now, I think. And there's like this approach that we have about kind of formless form. And so I found myself anytime I was starting to get too firm or strict about the creation, to step away from it, to make sure that this formless form within a form that I was approaching. And then I found out that this is actually a thing. I don't know what it's called, this art form. So yeah, it taught me a lot about how capable I am. Like it was certainly a lot of fun.
Cool. Christina, what do you think?
This is so exciting. Majeedah is just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. It's been great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Cool. So, the other question I like to ask is, in in a positive way, what did the pandemic, how did it change your platforms, your paradigm, how you're thinking and how you're working?
Um, this shelter in place has changed and transformed my life in so many ways. Um, I certainly had to recognize that I had to make conscious decisions to be aware, self-aware. It's helped me to slow down in certain ways. Like I work to try to follow up with friends and loved ones. It's helped me to do a deep dive about how I approach and appreciate my art. I think for my novel, I mean, was working on that novel over a decade. So everybody who met me for many years met me through this lens of Virginia Heat, my main character. And there were times where I thought that that was it. I was just going to write this novel and it was one thing. So I was just focused and fixated on this one thing, completing this one thing. And then when I finished it and started realizing that the gift of completion can transform, over the years, I started really thinking about art differently. So right now, I am really embracing being a gift to myself. I'm embracing that the messages that I have inside of me are unique and that I have something quite profound to contribute to the world. And, I wrestle with, ego filled ideas, but also I work to be more kind. So also I have a pretty, uh, I have a pretty tense job as a science writer. So before, when art was kind of something I did, art is now something I am. I accept that. I am that I am. I'm even more intentional now when I spend time with my creations. I um, understand this process, and I give myself even more credit. So now it's like it's beautiful because I feel like I've reached this space where it's just I can do whatever it is and accomplish whatever it is that I desire. I just have to set those steps up and be a friend to my mind. That's the main thing that's come out of this is I am a friend to my mind. I take notes on what my mind is telling me, things, visions, dreams, sounds. In the mornings I get up and I usually make a series of random sounds that end up as part of a song. Or I do like some little dance in the morning. So I set my intentions more deeply. So I think that and letting go of what doesn't serve us. So I think that those are my essential focuses. And just now it's part of two is now I'm deciding what it is that I'd like to do with my art next, with my creations, and to get them out further into the world for people to enjoy and engage and see.
Right. Um, if you don't mind, I'd like to go on to the next one, and then I want to play all three of them
Yes.
In sequence before we wrap it up. So
Okay.
let me move. Let me move on here. Um, takes a second.
I'll just say this while you're setting it up. The third one, I had to make sure I hit it out of the park. So this is the end of this cycle.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Burnett,
Yeah.
before we read and before we check before we view them all three together, I was just going to read our chats. We've got some chats here. Okay, so we've got Hoda Hussein. Hello, Hoda. Thank you for stopping by. Vincent says hello too. Um, thank you so much, Lisa. Yes, that Klingon is a diva. Hoda shared that she watched the Klingon video at least a dozen times. And let's see, I'm reading some more comments here. Also, yes. Oh, and Kenya shared. Hi, Kenya. Thank you so much for joining us. Kenya shared there's so much depth there. So many things come to mind. And thank you so much, Kenya. Yes. Hoda, yes, you were sharing that the middle one, the second one, is your favorite. And Lisa shared that everything is in sync and perfect alignment with the world and the universe. And Kiera has shared, wow. Thank you.
Kira is our Thompson representative in Boston. And one of these days, you hope we can all. I'll have to bring her in as our host. So Anyone else have anything they would like to comment on or say? And yeah, anyone have a word?
Thank you,
This is
Kira.
Cynthia Cook. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, whoever was
No,
speaking.
go ahead. Thank you, Kira. Kira shared, hello, everyone. That was a beautiful and powerful clip. Sorry, Cynthia, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't consider myself artist or creative by any means. I try and do it in my spare time, but I found your question very intriguing to Majeedah regarding how the pandemic has really impacted her artistry. And I have found it to be very cyclical and in waves personally. And I'm having a really hard time being inspired lately. I haven't picked up a paintbrush or done anything, baking, nothing like that, that usually I've spent a lot of time on because I just can't bring myself to do it. I'm in this sort of phase where it's just the creative process is completely stunted, and I really haven't been able to have the energy to do it. And I'm just curious, have you ever found yourself in that same type of phase? And, do you just ride it out, or do you have particular strategies to try and stimulate, a creative spark, if you will?
Great question. And thank you so much for joining us, Cynthia. I do. There are moments where I get in a bit of a rut. A couple things. So I'm part of a novel writing group, and we meet every 2 weeks. And it is amazing how it serves as a community in a number of reasons, but also I hold them to be kind of accountability partners for me. That there are deadlines that we all struggle to meet from time to time. But when you make that commitment, so I'll make a commitment. So I'm working also on a sci-fi novel. It's actually amazing. I love this work. It's like CSI meets Octavia Butler, meets Miami Vice from the 90s in Hell's Kitchen, in short. So I just switched mediums. And that's kind of how this microfilms, the curated, came about. I was like, I didn't have 40 hours to make another Vincent. I wasn't feeling inspired to do other things. So I was like, well, let me just do something else. So that's when I just started producing music. And sometimes I just have I have the guitar in the room. So there were days, but also there are days that I'm tired. I can't do anything, but I give myself that space. But also I make sure that I'm writing something down, even if an idea is just like alligator gold tip shoes. I write it down and I give myself credit for that. But I think we also should give ourselves compassion, because I mean, this pandemic means a lot of things. We're in a transformational space. So however you show up, give yourself credit for it, and we will continue on in another cycle and things. So another saying I have is feel all of your feelings, all of them. Yeah.
Thanks, Majeedah.
You're welcome.
Cynthia, I think the drunken selves, that's
Oh God.
problem is. Majeedah, I'm gonna move into let's go through all three videos. I
Yay.
try to keep things to an hour.
Okay.
And I'll just peel through all three, all right?
All right.
Okay, here we go. Do I have this right?
That's not mine.
No, it's the one before this, isn't it? This is yours.
Yep, there I am.
There you are. Whoops, sorry about that. Not sure how that happened. Hang on a sec. We had 2 awakenings, didn't we? Oh, here we go. Let me start this again.
I understand perfectly. I understand perfectly. I understand perfectly.
That's not it.
Whoops. There we go.
There we go.
Well, there you have it.
Thank
So
you.
when's the next when's the next film?
So I'm gonna be concentrating on the Klingon series. I'm already filming and recording that. I'm doing a lot of writing and storyboarding. Some of my friends are gonna be part of it, so I have to figure out how to social distance. So the Klingon series, that is Jaleesa, that'll be next, and then I have a little puppet TV show I'm gonna be filming. So yeah, it's just me committing to getting it done. So yeah.
Good luck with that, right?
Right. Thank you, everyone.
Any other thoughts? Anybody before we wrap
Deshaun
it?
asked some of my influences. It
Sure.
ranges. Uh Electronica, a lot of drum and bass, a lot of blues, a lot of jazz, different collages, um Chester Hines, um author. I could go on. It kind of just depends. I look at a lot of information, from film, sound, textures, even just being outside and living on the farm. I get inspiration. So I try to be a vessel, um, and also just keep my eyes open for the messages around me and work to get out of the way and capture them and relay those to the world. Yeah.
Thank you, Majeedah.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Majeedah. That was wonderful.
you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Very good.
Yes,
Very
thank
intriguing.
you.
Thanks so much, Majeedah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Becky.
Now, just thanks a million, Majeedah, and I can't wait till we can all get together, which I think is soon. I'm predicting soon. Just a reminder, our next guest is Peter Frisch, and he's a fascinating and powerful human being. I saw his Equus in Boston a long time ago. I can't remember the name of the theater. I couldn't sleep for several days after that. It was extremely unnerving and compelling, and it has to do with his intensity. So hopefully we can all catch some of that on May 10th when he joins us. Again, if the page is always at pianojazz.com on the left. You can go down to ArtsUpNext. So any other deep thoughts from anybody before we wrap it up?
Would
Jackie?
you mind sharing her book title? Majeedah, would you mind sharing your book title?
Yes, it's Jump the River, and I will. You can get this on Amazon. Jump the River.
It is on Amazon. I found it. By the way, Amazon says that it takes place in the 30s. That's why I put that.
It does. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh. I'll have to check that out. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm just looking it up as
Okay.
I speak.
I'll revise that.
But it's there, yeah. So, and thank you, Ruth, for joining us, and thank you, Cynthia, and all the others who were lurking, and Kira, Jack, it's great to see you. Christina, what a delight to meet you. Dubem,
Nice to meet you.
always a pleasure. Got to get Kira down here. So, of course, everybody's in different cities now, but Kira gets to New York, Dubem. I'll make her connect with you. You know, one of my daughters is a neighbor of yours over there. Where are you exactly?
I'm in Brooklyn, in Park Slope.
Park Slope.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's over in Carroll Gardens. So.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
not too far, I don't think.
But they're actually looking to. She's saying they can find big flats in Lower Manhattan for $2,500 now. So, but that's going to change quite quickly.
Oh, very quickly. Now's the time.
Yeah, now's the time. All right, everybody. Thanks a million.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.
Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
It's such a pleasure to have everybody
Yeah.
here. And thank you so much, Majeedah, for inspiring us this evening. These films are fantastic. And if you don't mind, I can post the links. Shall I do that right now?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
let me do that real quick.
Thank you. And if you wanted to, you could post the link to Jump the River as well.
Are these all on Merlin Flügel? Or no, that's somebody else. Are
Probably.
these all on Fearless Artistry?
I haven't figured out how to post them on my website with bandwidth and everything. I'm in the process of updating my website to see if it can host it. For now, I just have them on Vimeo. And also, since this is like my first short film or curated series, I may figure out where else to post them. So like you were saying about how to distribute and share, I'm still new to that too.
Yeah, aren't we all? Nobody knows what they're doing. Now I'm just popping these up real quick into the chat.
Great.
Y'all can save them.
Thank you.
There's 2 of them.
It doesn't say that it's set in the 30s in the Amazon description. It says that the protagonist is in her mid-30s.
Okay.
I was just thinking that, to clarify.
Thank you. I was like
looking at some of the details. I was like, how could that have been confused? I don't think this would have happened in the 30s.
Kira's been correcting me for a long time, Majeedah.
Thank you.
It's a great help. So
I was reading the back. I was like, did we put that on there?
Yeah, I did on your thing, and then you said, wait, it's not set in the 30s. And I'm like, well, Amazon's Jeff Bezos said it was set in the 30s. So.
Wanted to clarify.
All right, everybody, you can look at the chat and get those 3 links. And I'll give you a minute to do that. You can copy it. And thank you again, Majeedah. Thanks a million. Hope to see you soon.
Yes.
Jack, thanks for checking in. Ruth, Christina, Kira, and Becky. The others, Roshna, we never saw you, but I know you're there. I had to mute you. Okay, thank you, and good night, everybody. We'll see you
night.
soon.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, stick around, Kira.
Oh, okay. I'm just copying this last link.
Let me turn off the recording.
Got all the links.